Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, people. Another episode of Blue Diaries. I think it's episode 15. I need to change the title, actually. I just realized I didn't put it in the title. But listen, we've got a big panel today. You know what I'm saying? Big panel after a massive away win. You know, 3-point lane. Me, Lewis, Charlie, we were there, bro. And I don't know about you guys, but that was my best away day, bro. You know what I mean? That's the best game, Chelsea game, actually, that I've been to, because the limbs in this game, coming back from 2 goals down after the howlers that we saw Cucurella having, you know, it was big, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was massive. You know what I mean? But we've got 16 people in the house. Big up everyone that's in here already. But Charlie, man, what you saying, man? How you feeling after Sunday, my bro, man?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Yeah, I'm good. You know, we're winning. You know, we done it again there. And yeah, I don't know what it is about going there that the game's just crazy. The last 2 have just been a madness. Obviously, the 4-1 last season, and then this one this season as well. I mean, I don't know which game I preferred, but they're both good. And like this was a massive win for us. We needed this win. You know, and when you're 2 down inside the first sort of 12 minutes, you're sort of a little, you'd be lying if you weren't a little bit concerned, but there's a real belief in the team now and in the manager that we are going to come back into games, and even if we go behind, we're not finished. So yeah, mate, it was a great day, and I always say, like, it's the best away day of the season, providing you win. If you lose, it's the worst one.
100%, bro. 100%, man. And Couch, how you feeling, my brother?
Honestly, under the weather, to be honest, but yo, I mean, no better euphoria than beating Tottenham on their ground, man. Honestly, impressive fashion too. Let's just be real. Like, you come back from a game like that, 2-0 down. Wasn't really worried. I was thinking maybe we can get a point out of it. I wasn't really thinking that we're gonna like completely just lose it all there. But you know, that team is just full of capitulation, man. 100%. Those guys are 100% bottle jobs, man. It wasn't this 11th time that they've surrendered a 2-goal lead. Like, come on now. That's just crazy. So I don't know where you guys stand, but I'm not even really checking for this kind of like rivalry anymore. I just feel like every time we play these guys, it's gonna be 3 points. You know, I just feel that way now. So you know, we're good, man. We're good right now. You feel me?
No, of course, man. And AJ, how you feeling, my bro?
Yes, sir. Big up the panel. I'm good, man. I'm glad that we got that big 6 win. And it's funny to see how the rivals are just moving spooky now. They don't know how to react to us. They don't know what to say to us, you know. And us saying that we're not in the title race is shaking them up. So it's just funny. But it's nice to see. It feels good to be a Chelsea fan. Let me put that up.
No, 100%, man. Lewis, obviously we were at the game together. You know what I'm saying? Fuck Poch every single time, my bro. How you doing, man? It's been a minute since you've been on the channel.
Yeah, man. Great to be back. Shout out to the family. Big up to everybody locked in. Standard 3 points at light work lane. Just surprising circumstances and all of that. But it's good to feel back to where we should be. I'm saying we're back where we were in the Abramovich era. Comfortable top 4 with the potential for a little bit more. Now, it's about exceeding that. And we'll see what the next few months have for us. But yeah, great to be back. Big up, everyone.
Big up, man. Big up. And Jem, how you getting on, man? How was it watching that win in Dubai, my bro?
Just great feeling, man. Like, you know, just enjoying the game, shouting down the apartment. I don't really deem Tottenham as a top 6 team anymore. You know, they're just so Spursy, man. Like, only they could get a 2-0 lead on us, and us just come back like that and still beat them. Like, we even helped them. We even kind of helped them because Cucurella slipped twice. All right, they still put 2 in the back of the net, but like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys still had a 2-0 lead and they still fucked it up. Like, they're that bad. But from our perspective, all good. We continue to move on. We've got a very good run now. So,
yeah,
the Chelsea, mate.
100%, bro. And I'm glad that you spoke about that capitulation, because that's the only way that I saw Chelsea lose in this game. You know, I was very, very confident going into this game. I knew I was a bit wary because you know, I was confident going into the United game as well. But that was actually our worst performance of the season. And I don't see us playing that badly again this year, bro. I think they're going to learn from that performance, right? And I was saying in my preview, the only way we lose against Tottenham, in my opinion, is if we're not switched on, bro, in terms of our mentality. If we're not able to get over that storm in the first 15, 20 minutes, bro. Because Tottenham, we know what they're like. They come out to press, bro. They leave holes in behind. You know what I mean? It's a London derby. It's Chelsea. We hate each other, bro. They think we're rivals. I don't really look at Spurs as a rival like what Couch is saying, bro. Yeah? I've only ever seen these men win one thing in my life. They're just there. Yeah? Growing up in East London, I knew 2 Tottenham fans. It's only as I've gotten older and started to do content, I've met more of them deluded twats. You know what I mean? People like Deji, yeah? People like Patrick, you know what I'm saying? People like Jules, right? All these annoying Spurs fans in my ear, they are so irrelevant in my life, right? And, you know, going down the way that we did, Cucurella slipping both times, it was mad. The way they were clinical in this game, it reminded me of the game against City because they blitzed City in front of goal because they were very clinical. You know what I'm saying? But I still felt like we're going to come back in this game. I had Deji calling me at halftime, laughing. I said, bro, we're still going to come back and win this game. Because what I was seeing in the game, I was seeing us building up nicely from the back. The fluidity wasn't that great, in all honesty, with Badiashile playing at right centre-back because he wasn't in his body and use his right foot. Caicedo as well playing at right-back. I saw what you said in your review, Couch. You're spot on when you're saying that. The right-hand side was dead in the first half, bro. Caicedo was going into midfield, which was helping us on the ball, you know, and helping us sort of break up play. But we weren't as fluid from the back. But we were still able to pop it through the midfield. We're still able to find ourselves attacking Spurs. We're still creating some chances. If you guys remember the first half, Palmer whipped in across for Colwell, right? We had Sancho, obviously, he scored his goal. Very, very good in this game, bro. Finally attacking space and just letting off that shot. You know what I mean? And then going into the second half, what Maresca did with the tweak, you know, changing Colwell and Badiashile around. So Colwell's a little bit more comfortable on that side. Bringing on Gusto, taking off Lavia, playing Caicedo in that pivot with Enzo Fernandez, which I was very, very skeptical about, people, because up against Tottenham, they're going to overload you with Porro and Udogie into the midfield. And I was thinking, how is Enzo going to manage that? But Maresca countered that by also putting Cucurella in there, bro. So they had a problem to think about. There were so many times in that second half where Cucurella was behind the midfield and he was able to help us have more bodies in the midfield, bro. You know? Mm-hmm. And time again, every single time we was attacking, it honestly felt like we were going to score. You know what I mean? Brilliant play from Sancho to get the to help us get the penalty for the second goal. You know what I mean? Very, very good play before Palmer's before Enzo's goal as well. It all started from Enzo Fernandez and Sancho popping it about together, combining together. You know, and then for the fourth goal, again, Cole Palmer just waiting for my man to push him, and my man just literally pushed him, bro. I honestly don't understand what was going through in his mind at that point. You know what I'm saying? So we've got a lot to speak about, man. But honestly, you know, we could have won by more goals. The only annoying thing for me, people, is the fact that we conceded 3. Because that's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking, why the fuck did we concede 3 goals against this Spurs team? They weren't really creating many clear-cut chances. Yes, they had some good chances themselves, like half chances, I would say. But we created better chances, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that. They did have that one where it was a 2-0 or something like that, where Son cuts it back to
but that's about it.
Son, and then also Son cut it back. He cut it back to Solanke in the box, and he just
that chance. If you actually watch it again, yeah. If you watch it again, Couch, right? Son put a little bit too much in that.
For sure.
It was so heavy.
You get anything. No, you're right. I agree with you. But you get anything on that's directed towards a goal. He just tripped over his feet. But
then Palmer had an easier chance when in the box as well, bro. You know what I mean? We had some very good chances in this game, man.
I'm just gonna say they had some good chances though, because there was that header too that came in off of Sarr that was looked dangerous. I'm not gonna lie, he was wide open header. So they did have the chances, but you know the 2 goals that they did score early on were just whatever.
100%, man. But Charlie, what did you think of the first half, bro? Because this is the shape that we were playing in the first half. As you lot can see here, you've got obviously the back 3, Badiashile playing at right centre back, Colwell in the middle, Cucurella there. You had the pivot of Caicedo and Lavia, and then you had Enzo Fernandez and Palmer, who were a little bit more advanced. What did you think of our first half performance, bro?
To be honest, it wasn't terrible. Like the first 15 minutes was probably our worst 15 minutes of the season. Obviously, Cucurella with his ice skates on. But having said that, though, like that didn't lead directly to the goals. Yeah, it let them in, but I still feel like that first one we could have done a little bit better. I think Colwell could have defended a bit better on that first goal. And Sanchez, I'm not saying he should have saved it, but he just dives a complete wrong way. I don't really know what he was doing there. And that second one, we should really be showing Kulusevski down the line rather than allowing him to come in field. I think Lavia, but even when he come in field though, I think Lavia probably could have got a little bit closer to him as well. So I think both goals from a defensive standpoint were quite poor to give away, and like all the blame kind of has gone on Cucurella for slipping over, but actually that didn't directly lead to the goals. There was still quite a few things what happened from the slip to actually the ball being in the back of the net. So I think disappointing from a defensive standpoint that we didn't do a couple of things better for them first 2 goals. But once we were 2 down, like I think the biggest change for me with this team this year is that there's no one's panicking. We believe in what we're doing. We know we're going to create the chances, and we're just playing our stuff, and we know our opportunities will come. So, like the biggest thing as well, though, was getting a goal back quickly. Every time we've gone behind in games, whether it was against Man United away, whether it was against Arsenal at home, every time we've gone behind, we've hit back real quick. And that was key. Within like 5 minutes, we've halved the deficit with the Sancho goal. And then the rest of the first half kind of fairly even. We had a few opportunities here and there. But then, I think I thought the first half was okay. I thought we recovered it well. We were good for about half an hour. The first 15 minutes was pretty poor.
100%, man. And yeah, just to go back a little bit to the point that you spoke about with Colwell's defending, because I've watched the game back, and Colwell in that moment, bro, he was doing a little bit too much ball watching. He wasn't aware of where Solanke was, and a more experienced centre back there, they're gonna get in between the ball and the man, right? Solanke was very good with the movement. He literally changed direction last second. Let me just try to bring it up again. I don't know where it's disappeared to, bro. There we go. It's here, right? So if you look, people, you can see Colwell here. That's him reacting late. He reacted late to it because he's too busy looking at the ball instead of looking around him to see where his man is. If he had a little bit more awareness there, he'll intercept that ball. He'll get something into it. He'll make Solanke have to collide into him, right? Solanke was the one that was a little bit more aware in that situation. So he should have done a lot better, right? And even for the second goal, with what you're saying as well, Charlie, if you look at the second goal, people, right? Lavia and Colwell, they should have been a lot tighter there. I can't lie. They should have been a lot tighter there. They should have closed something down. Where is it, man? Right. I'm gonna have to get it up. But yeah, you know the situation I'm talking about. The second goal that they scored, Lavia and Colwell gave Kulusevski too much time, and it was very clear for me to see what he was going to do in that moment because of how he was angling his body. It was so obvious he's gonna do a reverse shot. You know what I'm saying? But Couch, what did you
close it down a bit quicker?
Yeah, close it down a little bit quicker, bro. But away from that, I thought Lavia was brilliant in that first half. I thought on the ball, the way he was punching the ball in between the lines, you know what I'm saying, just getting it and just playing what he was doing. Lewis, what did you think of his first half performance, man?
Like you said, best player for us. Like the one-touch passing, the typical press resistance that we always see from him. Everything was to a high standard. He at least gave us a little bit of composure, especially like the first 30 minutes, because we really needed that. You could tell the pressure was starting to get to the players. But the more you give it to Lavia, then the more you like take into account his decision making and everything. I think it helped us to stabilize a bit.
Exactly that.
100%. Couch, what did you think of Lavia's performance in that first half? And what did you think when he got taken off? Were you a bit worried?
Well, I'll start with I'll piggyback off what Lewis was saying. I agree. Like everything that was happening in the first half that wasn't going our way, there was just no energy and verve in that first 15 minutes. We were just making crucial errors. Obviously, the defense was a bit of a mess. And the only person that we could play the ball to get us playing football and get us on the front foot was Lavia. Like I thought he was brilliant. Like whether it's coming up from the back, the half turns that he got on, the dribbling, punching it right into the attackers, all of that was immense to just get us playing football, get us on the front foot. And yeah, he was immense. I was worried about like the second half because I knew he had the yellow and there's things to consider there about whether or not we're going to be able to make the changes in the second half. So, and it was clear to me, it was evident to me that like we could not push forward with Badiashile on that right there. Like that was obvious. Like we were saying it even in the chat. It's like, no, this cannot go on.
Yeah,
we can't continue on like that. So somebody had to be sacrificed. And I think on the account of him having a yellow, I know that Maresca came out in his presser, said that he took a bit of a knock. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think tactically we just needed to make that change. And the options that we had available, we had to go Lavia there because we wanted Caicedo on the pitch and more central. And yeah, he was on a yellow. But if we're thinking about it, like Maresca basically made the tactical switch to compensate for his own error, because we all said it the pre-match. Nobody wanted to see Badiashile on the right there. Nobody. It was just he's just not a natural right-footed player. Like He's one-footed. He only has a left foot. Anytime it comes into him, he's looking to get it on his left foot. Doesn't want to use his right. When he does use it right, it's a wayward hit. So, that was very much evident throughout the first half. So we had to get rid of that. And yeah, of course, Lavia takes the fall for it. But tactically, I thought we were brilliant from that point on.
100%, man. And if you can see here as well, people, this is how Spurs were pressing us from the front. And again, they were another victim of Maresca ball, right? Jem, if you look here, you can see man to man, right? You've got Solanke pressing from the front every time running towards Sanchez. You've got over here as well. You know what I mean? You've got over here, man to man, over here, What did you think of our build-up play? Were you impressed with it, would you say, Jem, like in the first half?
For the first 20 minutes, we struggled because I thought the balance of how we originally set up, I felt like we had no right with Caicedo and Badiashile, which means Neto suffered because then Neto wasn't really involved in the game and it was hard to try and feed down the right. And this is why you saw Cole Palmer pulling out to the right a lot in the first half, just to try and help that side of the pitch because it was struggling at the time. But then we kind of sort of sussed it out a little bit and we were getting, what I would say is our press got better. It's not so much the fact that we were, because let's be serious, the first half, Sanchez was just doing Sanchez. Like he was just having them bozo moments again. And it just was not, it wasn't helping, man. He just kept picking the ball up, passed it straight to them. He took it onto his left foot once and went to play it to Cucurella, kicked it straight out to Rosehead. Like, we was just having one of them moments. So, we grew into the game a bit later on in the first half. And that was more to do with the fact that I felt that we just pressed better when they had the ball. Further up the pitch, and Lavia was higher up the pitch. Caicedo then, all right, when he was inverting, was helping with that, and the guys up front were doing that as well. So, in my opinion, the first half was completely different to the second half, but the second half changes that he made needed to be made because we needed the right back, and that's why Augusto coming in just made so much sense.
100%, man, and I'm glad that you mentioned about Chelsea's counter pressing again, because this is something that I've been speaking about a lot, AJ. If you can see on the flip side of it, this is our counter pressing. Again, man for man, you've got Lavia over here. You've got Palmer, just trying to see what's happening between here. You've got Jackson over there. You've got Enzo over here. Is that Enzo or Sancho, actually? You've got Enzo over here. Then you've got Neto as well. What did you think of our counter pressing in this game, bro? Do you think it was quite good, would you say, in the first half?
I think, again, like everybody's acknowledged, after that first 20 minutes, then we actually got into the game. And I think, we've shown over many games that it's tough for teams to get out of their half on us. And once, it takes a lot of energy and effort for them to beat our first press and our second press. And then after that, once they beat that, they probably run out of ideas. So we end up picking up the ball anyway. So again, this was just another example of us just locking in the team, and even the minute shows this is the 25th minute, so after that first 20 minutes, then we actually, started to control the game, but even still, we were still kind of struggling to, create or just hold on to the ball because of that right side balance issue. So, again, Maresca identifying that. And we were talking about that in the chat during the game, saying that right side is a problem. So just, making that change at halftime was really what changed the game for us.
Is he frozen again? No.
100%, bro, and that's perfect. I'm glad that you said that, because what I'm going to bring up next, Charlie. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, you're good. I think you just got a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad that you spoke about that just then, AJ, about the shape in the second half, because the second half is where we completely dominated these, man. You know what I mean? If I zoom in and I show you people, you can see that Enzo Fernandez was the one that was actually playing in this pivot, right? And I just started a comment here as well. You've got Abdul, big up Abdul. He says those Enzo switches from one side to the other, bro. That is why, yeah, I've put the lines here, people. They're not just from Madwaki, right? You can see the back three. So you've got Gusto over here, you've got Colwell there, and you've got Badiashile that swapped around with Colwell, right? Enzo, you can see him getting pressed by about 3 players over here, but he's not thinking about these, man. He's thinking about pinging the ball over to Neto, right? And when you see this guy ping the ball in person, people, I said it the other day, bro, it's like Johnny Wilkinson. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know, right? This guy just gets it perfect every single time. Every single time. And this Spurs pitch is massive, yeah? So you can see the shape got changed in the second half. You had Enzo and Caicedo in a pivot. You had Cucurella playing in between the lines. You had Jackson over there. You had Palmer over here. you had Neto, then you had Sancho, right? You can see all that space in behind these lot because they were still pressing us. They dropped back a little bit in the second half, to be fair, but they were leaving a massive gap over here, you know? What did you think of Enzo's performance in that second half, Charlie, man? Because he was very, very pivotal in what we were doing in that second half.
No, mate, he was outstanding, like he has been for the last 4 games, really, since the international break. I think he's got 3 goals, 2 assists in the last 4 Premier League matches. And he's looking like the player that, you know, we spent the big money on. And you can see he's confident when he gets the ball. He looks fully fit. He's getting around the pitch now. That's a thing that was leveled at him like quite a lot. Is that this guy's not athletic enough to play in the Premier League? And I think, you know, we're finally seeing for the first time in ages, he's actually fully fit. This hernia issue, what was plaguing him last season, a lack of structure as well, like all things what are affecting him, his personal life as well. Like all those things seem to be under control now, and you're actually seeing him flourish in a system that suits him perfectly. And the quality he's got is undeniable. His range of passing. And the biggest thing, I think I said this the other day to you, Don, the biggest thing for me that he's added, right, which has made such a big difference, the guy's arriving in the box now. And Maresca's spoken about it. He wants midfield players arriving in the box. He's arriving in the box, and you know he's getting the rewards. Who's there when the ball breaks after Palmer does that great work on that right-hand side? It's him with a brilliant finish. Who's there edge of the box against Villa? It's him. Who's there following up in the box against Leicester? It's him. Like, that's what you want. When you're playing in that sort of number 8 position, you have to be arriving in the box as a midfield player, because Caicedo's not. But even Caicedo was getting in the box as well. Look, he wins the penalty. He's getting in the box as well. So, you know, you add such an extra dimension to your game and to the team if you get these midfield runners arriving in the box. And Fernandes has got everything to be a top quality modern day midfield player. He's now finally fully fit, and he's now got a manager that understands how to get the best out of him. And you're seeing him flourish.
100%, bro, and you're spot on when you speak about that again. And this is another example, people. So I've shown the box that Spurs had in their midfield. You can see how they're pressing us, but Enzo helps us break that press, by playing another ping to Neto over the top. You know what I mean? And those people, Jem, that were talking about selling this guy, bro. You know, just sell this guy. He's not a Premier League footballer. He doesn't have to start every single week, but you can see the importance in the team because he has a skill set which not a lot of players have. There's not a lot of players that can ping the ball like Enzo, Jem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just nice to talk about him playing well, isn't it? To be quite honest with you, because this is
no doubt.
This is the Enzo that I'd seen in Benfica when I wanted him at Benfica. You know, this is the Enzo that I saw at the World Cup. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of thing that's gone on in the full season from Poch to where we are now. Let's be serious with him specifically as well, you know, and we have to take that into consideration. But what I would say was more, what I just think with him's very evident is he just looks fitter. He's moving more. He's making decoy runs. He's busting the gut to try and run into spaces which are helping, because for me, the thing that stands out well at the moment for me is his chemistry with Sancho. Like, I just love, and it's not just this game, by the way. I saw it against Villa. You know, them two down that wing were just quality. And like, you know, it seems like obviously Maresca's now find a way of being able to get the best of his qualities without him having to cover too much space. As like I said, with the Poch system, it was very covering so much spaces, you know, and him having to be further up the pitch and effective. And he's just more nimble on the ball now. And like I said, and what Charlie said as well with him arriving in the box. He's what he is out of the 3 midfielders we got. And I keep saying all 3 of the midfielders are unique in their own way. We should be blessed and happy with the midfielders we have, because they all do something different depending on the opposition. We just got to utilize them correct. And with him, it's just about him doing what he was doing against Tottenham, but also now what he's doing is, like he said, crushing the box. And his finishes, the one at Aston Villa, the one at Tottenham, that weren't easy finishes, guys. But that's class. You know, that was class finishing from him. So it's just now about him being consistent. Can he continue with it? Can we keep getting this level of Enzo performance that we want to see? You know, and people will stop. Hopefully, people will just now stop talking about him, especially Chelsea fans. You know?
And Lewis, listen, Jem touched up on a fantastic point there, because that's something that again I've been speaking about, and something that I've noticed with our left hand side. Last season, Lewis, we had grenade football there, bro. We had Sterling and fucking Chilwell. Right, Chilwell couldn't build up nothing. Colwell playing at left back was a joke as well. And Sterling, well, we know what he was, bro. He used to get pickpocketed for fun by fullbacks, right? But you're seeing now Enzo and Sancho have got a very good relationship. And one thing I've noticed, every time Sancho gets on the ball, he always seems to be looking for Enzo to link up with him, right? Because Sancho's not your Madueke type of winger to be running constantly. He doesn't play like that. He likes to, combine with players, make them little accelerating runs, drop his shoulder. He loves playing with players like Enzo, because Enzo is the type of player who, if he gives him the ball in this situation, Sancho will make the run and Enzo will just find him. You know what I'm saying? And time again, Lewis, I'm seeing these two linking up on that left-hand side, bro. We've got a real balance where our right-hand side is good with Palmer and that, and our left-hand side is good with Enzo and Sancho. What have you thought about their relationship, bro?
Bro, I've seen Enzo and Sancho's relationship improve more on the pitch, but I genuinely think it's just a Sancho and insert name thing here sort of thing. Because when you've got Cucurella pushing further forward, it's the exact same. They'll interplay. Cucurella will give him the supporting run, and then they'll create more chances together. If it's Sancho and Enzo, it will be the same situation. I don't know if Sancho's played on the left with Palmer yet, but I'd assume if that ever happens, God forbid, because I don't want to see Palmer on the left again. But I actually think playing him with Sancho would probably work, because Sancho's just that good at interplaying and understanding the other players around him. I said this on back again a few days ago. We've basically got the signing of the season with Sancho, in my opinion. 20 to 25 million for a player of this quality and the level that he's shown already. And I still think there's more to come, because there's been an improvement. Yep. And there's still plenty more improvement yet to come from him. It's still building up the confidence back from the player at Manchester United. Now there's a bit more of a license to shoot. Who knows what they've got in the next couple months for us, but it's Sancho, and Sancho just links up well with whoever's around him.
Facts, bro. You know what I mean?
Let me jump in. To me, Sancho was the man. I mean, I don't know who won the official man of the match, but to me, Sancho was the man. This guy, he knitted everything together. Everything that we were doing, it was coming basically from his side, and he that was his best performance. That was his best performance for Chelsea, and him adding goals is, again, something that we weren't really expecting too much of. We know he has the capability to score, but we had to implore him to shoot. He definitely heard, the fans and even his teammates, I guess, are telling him he needs to shoot the ball more. And he's starting to get that confidence. And again, this is still a young player too. He still has another level to go to. So, like Lewis said, that's easily could be the signing of the season. Easily, and Manchester United fans are still trying to put out there that they don't care about us having Sancho. That's a lie. He started. He started in your squad.
I've got to be honest. I'll be honest, right? When we were linked with him in the summer, I was a little bit unsure not in terms of player quality. I was just I couldn't really see why we needed him. But now, having seen him, do his thing, now he's got what? He's got 3 assists, 2 goals in 9 Premier League appearances. You can see exactly what he brings. But at the time, I'll be honest, I was a bit unsure as to why we need him, given the options that we had in those positions. But you can see exactly why we need him, and you can see exactly what he brings to the table. And he looks like he's going to be an absolute bargain at 25.
I agree. I think
100%, man. And the thing about Sancho as well, he can play on both sides. Because I was similar to you in a way, Charlie. But then when I deeped it, I said, bro, away from Madueke on the right hand side. Okay, cool. You've got Neto that can play there, right? On the left, we didn't have anyone else away from Mudryk that can play in that position, bro. You know what I'm saying? For me, Sancho had to. It made sense because again, he can play on both sides. And Couch, look at this strike over here, bro. The man smacked it from outside the box. What did you think of his goal, man?
Was that the Sancho goal?
Yeah, that's the Sancho goal. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think the most important action in this whole move was the run that Enzo made to take the defender away, to create the space for the goal. Obviously, incredible strike, but I think the move before that, where Enzo's just darting into the box, and I think it was it Dragusin at that time, or I can't remember who it was. Might have actually even been.
Dragusin wasn't on at that point. It was still Van de Ven and Romero.
Oh, it was still the two of them, yeah. So then whoever it was, maybe Romero got taken away from the ball and opened up the space for Sancho. More times when you see Sancho on the ball like that, he's looking to play somebody in, So to see him see the space, occupy the space, and then hit it like that just shows the quality he has, right? Like he could do this more. But what I'm finding is he's finding himself in space more, because even in the second half, the little interplay between him and Cucurella in the left flank there, he gets in again and probably could have scored again, you know? So he's finding himself in space more, and I think it's affording him more opportunities to shoot. But yeah, he was fantastic. He was my man of the match. Very
Same.
close between him and Enzo for me. Very close. But I think Enzo for me was utilizing the space that was given to him so much more. Like he was the kind of guy that, like, in the first half, he was just finding himself in acres of space. Like I'm talking about acres of space to just pick passes. And we all know, like, if you give this guy time and space on the ball, he's going to hurt you. And, you know, for me, the second half, when he dropped a little bit deeper, he became a little bit more of a controller of the game. But overall, his game plan, his game and arriving late in the box, knowing when to time his runs to get there, hit the ball, that's become excellent the last, I don't know, since the international break, I guess. But his timing of the runs now is becoming very, very crucial to what we are doing. I'd also say that, like, in the second half, the tactical switch afforded us more attackers in the final third. I think we had about 7 people going at that time, because Gusto would jump up every now and then too. And if you saw Cucurella was basically just in open space. Like he felt like he was a free roll in the 10. You know, I found him on the right sometimes, you know, combining on the right. So we just overwhelmed them, I think, with numbers. They couldn't get out. They didn't have the ability to press those numbers, and we just had control of the game from there on out.
100%, bro. And if you, I'm glad that you said that as well, because what I noticed in the first half was that we were crossing the ball in. It was getting into dangerous areas here, but there was no one that was there, right? That was clearly an instruction from Maresca to say, yo, we're getting in the box. Make sure that someone's on the end of it. And for man to smack it, Jem, on his left foot here, first time. That's not easy to do, because Forster's a massive keeper, and he's not a bad shot stopper either. Like, yes, we might banter him because he's getting old and he's at Tottenham, but he's actually not a bad shot stopper, bro. That was a top finish, Jem.
That is, I thought he turned into prime Buffon a little bit in this game, because he was making saves on Neto and others, like in the goal that he probably wouldn't have usually made. But in this game, it was like, for fuck's sake, it's going to be one of them games where we make chances and we create and we just can't get back in because the goalie decides he wants to turn up today. But no, this goal was just, it's the way that he executes it. You know, you got to think, right, that ball's, Palmer's done all of that sort of messy movement, dribbling, took a shot, and it's kind of spinning towards him. So it's spinning towards him and it's bounced. And then he's only got one opportunity, which is to hit it first time, because he's getting pressed anyway. He can't take a touch. You know, he maybe could have passed it to the left. If you look at, who is that on the left? That's Sancho. He maybe could have if he wanted to pass it to the left. But he was just so confident in his own ability to go, do you know what? I'm just going to put my foot through this. And he did. And it was just a quality finish, guys. Like top quality finish. And we need to see more of it. Like I keep saying it. I want to see more of this of Enzo Fernandez, you know?
100%, man. And listen, Charlie, we haven't really spoke much on Cole Palmer. You know, I thought in this game in the first half, Palmer was a little bit quiet, in all honesty. But second half, bro, the way he switched it on for us, you know, I'm seeing him getting in between the lines. I'm seeing him, again, for the goal that we scored, the Enzo goal, he was very, very key in that. Dropping his shoulder, bro, manipulating the defenders, you know, letting off shots. You know what I'm saying? Just being a nuisance in that position, right? What did you think of Palmer in this game? Because he's been getting pelters, and rightly so, because he hasn't really performed that well in the big games this year. But this was a good performance from him in the second half, especially, man.
Yeah, no, mate, he's quality, and you know that the quality always comes through to the top eventually. And you know, I think it really did help him, that right hand side with Gusto, you know, overlapping. There's a lot more of the ball to Neto, and then Neto and him linking up a little bit as well. That helped him a lot. And you know, we know this guy's quality on the ball. We know what he can do. And, you know, he had the space. That was the big thing, right? Is that Tottenham just let him have so much space in the areas that he loves to get on the ball. And when you give him the space, he's obviously going to, you know, with his quality, he's going to impact the game in a really positive way for us. So I'm not saying he played well because Spurs just gave him all that space, but it certainly, obviously, it certainly helped him out big time. But you know, but it's just, the guy's such a top quality player. You know, his decision making, his thought processing, his quality on the ball, his weight of pass, his ability to do things. Everything just comes so naturally to him. And you know, the penalties as well. You know, people can talk about, oh, you know, he only scores penalties. Well, that's what his third penalty. He scored 3 penalties this season out of 11 goals, I think, which is not many. But mate, these are hard to score. You know, these are big pressure penalties. Like, you know, for 2-2, and then to go 4-2 up, and he does the Panenka on that one as well. And if that goes wrong, by the way, and we let that one in at the end, that finishes 3-3, and it's a totally different conversation. So it's like, for me, this was a great performance from him. And like, you know, obviously before the break, I think he went three games without a goal contribution. He's now got 4 goals in his last 3 Premier League matches. So, you know, it's just one of them things. People are so quick to jump on him because oh my god, he's not had a goal contribution for 3 games. It's like, it's not the end of the world. That's kind of like not really out of the norm for players to go 2-3 games without a goal contribution. So yeah, look, mate, he's exceptional. He's got 17 GNA this season in 15 games. It's mad. It's mad. That's what I've been telling people. There's no worries though. I'm never worried about him. Even if he goes 2-3 games without contributing to a match, right? I'm not worried about this guy because he will always contribute.
Exactly, bro. That's what I've been telling people as well, Lewis, because Cole Palmer this season, because we put him on a pedestal, right? And for me, he's a world-class talent. I'm not going to call him world-class yet because I want to see him start to win some trophies, but he's definitely going to become world-class at Chelsea, right? But this year, we haven't seen the Cole Palmer as of yet, in my opinion, in terms of consistent performances away from the GA. Yes, we can speak about some of the tweaks that he's made, Maresca's made against the bigger teams. For me, in the left half space, he's not as effective as when he plays on the right. But what he's still been able to do is put up numbers, and he hasn't even been playing that well. So what I've been saying to rivals is that, bro, when Cole Palmer clicks into gear, right, we're going to see us scoring even more goals. You know what I mean? Because right now, he's putting up GA, and he's not even playing that well, bro. Do you know what I mean, Lewis?
You know what the maddest thing is, right? I get he had a bad patch between the October-November international break, but I feel like the notion that he's not really been at his best this season, I think it looks like that just because of how well the rest of the forward line have been. And also how good we are tactically. Like, he's not been bad. It's just last year, it was no tactics, figure it out. And everybody's game plan was just give it to Palmer. He knows what to do. Give it to Cole Palmer. Now we've got Jackson, who's got more clinical. Now we've got Neto, Sancho, Noni, all delivering Enzo as well. Even João Felix has started to get back into form. There's not really as much of the reliance on Cole Palmer as it was last season. And like, I get it. I had this argument with Igal yesterday, and he's like, if you lose Cole Palmer, it'd be a massive blow.
No.
We'd lose it. It would hurt us a little bit because he's still the best out of the lot. But we've got so much good attacking depth. The workload isn't really on him. He can afford to like not be around for like 30, 40 minutes and then wake up and then grow into the game because there's so many other aspects of our game that we have now. We have a dominant midfield. We didn't have that last season. We have forwards who are all getting involved. We didn't have that last season. We have good game management. We didn't have that last season, and also good depth. So now it's just, we're not Palmer FC anymore. That's it. That narrative's dead now. We're just a solid squad. Minus the goalkeeper.
We're top scorers in the league.
You're right. You're spot on.
I was just going to say quickly. Well, we're top scorers in the league with 35 goals, right? This idea that we're solely reliant on Palmer is nonsense. He's scored 11 of them goals, right? And he's assisted 6 of them. So what's that? 17. So that's not even half of the goals he's scored in the Premier League he's contributed to, right? So everyone else is stepping up in a big way. So how can we possibly still be like a Cole Palmer FC? Yeah, as Lewis said, he's still the main guy and he's still the best of them. But if he doesn't contribute or he has a quiet first half and he comes alive in the second half, it doesn't matter because with the quality we've got and the options we've got, someone else is going to step up, whether it's Neto, whether it's Sancho, whether it's Madueke. It doesn't matter who it is. Someone will step up if Palmer's not on it. So we're in a great position now where we don't need Palmer to be at his best every single game to get results. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We don't want to be relying on one guy every single week to help us out. If he does, great. But if he doesn't, it's not a problem.
I do agree that, but the thing is, 2 things can be right at once because yes, we're not depending on Palmer anymore, AJ, right? Because again, we're playing as a team. We're not, it's not a manager that's just looking for guys to press and individual moments of brilliance, right? Cool. That is true. But at the same time, just certain things I've been seeing in the game from Palmer in terms of his decision making. Some of his finishing this season as well hasn't been as crisp as what I would like. And the reason why I'm nitpicking here is because I rate Palmer highly, right? Palmer is the type of player where I don't speak about his lack of decision making because most of the time he makes perfect decisions. I can remember the game against Arsenal. Man could have just played it through to Jackson. He played it to Neto. right? There's been a few games this season where he could just let off a shot, and it's like he's been a little bit laxy-daisy, right? So yes, we're not dependent on him anymore, but individually, I just don't feel like he's been as influential, right, in terms of his individual performances. Again, Maresca has tweaked a few things here and there, but again, the performances haven't been at that level as of yet, bro. You know what I mean? In some of these games.
I agree. But we gotta hold. We gotta hold Cole Palmer, like you said, to a higher standard. You understand? Like, he's proven what he can do. We see what he can do. So when he performs an action that's below his standard, why can't we criticize him? If he's not involved in the game as enough, why can't we criticize him? That's what it is. He can't just be out there and be, can't get any type of criticism. So, but it's not something, we're not being too harsh on him. We're just saying, Cole Palmer, we expect this from you. So, but like you guys said, we don't fully have to depend on him. You understand? But at the same time, like you said, two things can be true. He's our best attacking player. And if you take him out the team, we're not going to be as good. That's a simple, it's just simple like that. Same thing with Odegaard. Arsenal might have a decent attack, but if you take Odegaard out of the attack, it goes down tremendously because that's just the level of player that these players are. So, we still need to cherish that we have Cole Palmer. We need to protect them in the games. Enzo needs, when, Conference League, he doesn't need to play. So, because that happens for a reason. He's the best player that we have up there. So, that's what it is. That's what happens when you're the best player. You get that sort of treatment.
Exactly. Go on, Couch. You're about to say something, bro.
Man, you guys covered it mostly, but I'm just saying, I don't know if it's necessarily so much about him not being as, crucial or as influential as he has been. I think we just have more people to rely on now that can get us what we need, G&A. So the play's not going through him. In basketball, they talk about a volume scorer, a guy that gets the ball 35, 40 times a game and, puts up 30 points or something like that. He was doing that under Poch last year. We just gave the ball to Cole. Now we have a system that doesn't necessarily need for him to be on the ball as much. As a matter of fact, part of what he does is come deep to get on the ball, to get us initiate our attacking sequences. So he's not involved in the final third. It doesn't necessarily be to get every touch in the final third now. He's getting touches a little deeper. He's combining with his teammates. And then, I don't necessarily think that he's been bad, to be honest. I don't know where this comes from, where he's
I don't think he's been bad.
It's just
I don't think it's been bad. You can't be
bad.
He
had a bad touch, but it was clearly tactical because he was played on the left. So it wasn't even like a Palmer problem. Get him away from the left pocket.
Because I remember that you talk about the Arsenal and them games there.
Newcastle, Arsenal, United.
It was more Liverpool. It was Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal. Because against Newcastle,
Liverpool, I say he had a bad game.
Liverpool wasn't one. That's probably his worst ever game for us.
Liverpool, I thought he had a bad game.
Yeah, Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool did a very good job on him. United, I was disappointed in him, man, because he should have.
No, but even United and Arsenal, he wasn't as impactful, but he was still he weren't losing the ball stupidly or anything. Liverpool, whenever he got the ball, he was doing stupid stuff.
Yeah,
he kept losing the ball.
I agree with that.
I just don't think
you think people have been a bit harsh on Palmer, Gem?
No, I just thought his decision making in certain games wasn't as crisp, personally, in my opinion. Yeah, there was times where he'd arrive in the box and he would shoot when he could have just made the pass to Madwakey, who was literally in front of goal, and there was just them little moments where he was like, come on, Palmer, usually you would make that pass. You wouldn't just be greedy and shoot and hit it straight at the defender when you're not going to, do you know what I mean? Just little things like that. I know it sounds like we're being a little picky, but it's just them little things where it's just he could have done that, in my opinion. But
100%. 100%. You're spot on when you say that, man. But yeah, like I said, I'm happy that, for now, there's a little bit of hush on the on his big game performances, because bro, we saw Palmer turning up last season against the big teams, bro. We saw him in the final, Lewis. We were both there, bro. Yeah, fucking creating for Gallagher. Gallagher just missing. The man could have literally got the assist to win us the game. Sorry, he created for Gallagher again in the box when Gallagher hit the post. Last season against Arsenal, got man of the match. Last year against Tottenham, he played well. Last year against United away, he played well. There's so many games I can pick
City
up.
Away,
bro.
City in the semi-final too. Just that.
City away, City at home. You know what I'm saying?
So
very
bobble with United.
100, bro. But yeah, there's someone I want to I want to speak about people because, as you lot can see in the title, actually no. Before we do that, let's talk about Cole Palmer's penalty, the Panenka, because I want to speak about that, and then we'll go into the whole thing about Clearlake as well, right? Because
this guy,
the tech,
man. Yeah,
like
honestly,
the tech
I'm gonna
to do
say
this,
first. Let me just jump on this quick. I just have this one thing to say about it. This guy embodies our motto, man, and Lewis's moniker, carefree. I'm kidding. I kid you not. Like, this guy is just so, like, if you take there's a test that's called the caliper test, and it tests your ability to deal with pressure, right? Like in pressure situations. If he took that test, he's ace in that test. I kid you not, he's ace in that test. He's just so cold under pressure. Nothing rattles him. You're in an away ground, hostile environment. You know, the game's not sewn away. Let's just be real. Like, we're in control and whatnot. But to take a Panenka in that moment is just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. That to me epitomizes, bruh. Like, when you think about what that means, that just means that this guy plays carefree. That's what he is. Carefree Cole Palmer.
That's Eden Hazard level, bro.
If he would have missed that, we probably would have drew.
Yeah,
like they did score later in the game, didn't they, as well? So
that's a momentum shift too. That's a momentum shift too. If you miss a penalty like that, that's a momentum shift, right? So crazy.
True. Matters.
Here, unfortunately, you man don't.
100 man, and like I said,
Bless up, everybody. Take care, everyone. Sorry, guys, I got to bounce. Peace out.
See you later, brother. Peace.
Big up, Lewis. Big up, my bro, man. Big up, man. Let's take that off, man. But let me show you, because again, the tech that he showed in this, right, was top tier, right? This is world-class ability, right? Because if you look at Palmer's body position in here, he does not look like he's about to take a Panenka, right? That's the thing about football, people. You've got to be able to manipulate the opponent. You've got to be able to make them feel like you're about to do something that you're not going to do, bro. You know what I mean? You've got to be unpredictable. Because AJ, one thing about this technique to do the Panenka, if you're not spot on with how you do it, you're gonna make yourself look so silly. You have to make the keeper dive when you do it, basically. Otherwise, it just looks bad. You know what I mean? And you can see here, he looks like he's about to bang it in again, right? But if I show you the next screenshot of his body shape, right, you see how he slows himself down. Right, let me get it up here, yeah. So you can see here. He's running towards the ball at full pace, and then look, he just relaxes his body. He relaxes his body. So just before he's about to take it, Foster thinks he's going to bang it. You can see he's about to dive there. He just relaxes his body, bro. That technique is world-class, AJ. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But even before the technique, it's the confidence. That's requirement number one to even do this. You understand? To walk up and decide that you're going to do that, you have to be on a level where you're so confident that you're going to execute the technique. You understand? And then actually doing it and banging it in is crazy. Like, in a moment like that as well, it's just, there's so many things you could say about it. Like, it's you only see certain people do this type of stuff, you know? Like, you don't see this too often, you know, in a game like this. So right away, that already tells you about the player, you know, because like you said, if you miss this, you look crazy. You look absolutely insane. So, you know, props to him for doing it. I think he spoke about it after the game. I think he said he saw that the goalie looked eager to dive. Yeah. So he decided to do that. So I'm like, you know, it just shows you the levels, you know, it shows you the levels of what your thought process and what you actually gotta, you know, do to execute this type of shit.
No, 100%, bro. And he actually said that if he didn't do it, he would have done it. He would have gone the other way. Do you know what I mean? He said he did. He said he made up his mind last minute. To be able to make up your mind last minute, Charlie. Like Couch was saying, the pressure, right? You got Spurs fans behind the goal as well, right? And man just walked off. You saw when they were celebrating, Charlie, like all the players, Cole and that, just pushing him. This is what I'm saying. These lot are young delinquents, bro. These men are silly. You know what I mean? We've got the youngest team in the league right now doing this, bro. You know what I'm saying, Charlie?
Yeah, no, mate. The thing is with Palmer, right? I don't even know if he knows how good he is, because he's just someone that comes across like he just plays like he's playing in the park, and like I think that's why he's so good, because he doesn't overthink things. Like, it's so easy in them situations to overthink stuff. he'll just decide in a split second, I'm gonna do this. And that's actually a much better way of going about things. So you start you start doubting yourself, second guessing yourself, that's when things can go wrong. If you just do what comes naturally to you, what you think's right in that moment, then you've got a much better chance of things coming off. And it makes sense as well for a second penalty, right? Because let's be honest, taking a second penalty in a game against the same keeper is difficult, because they're going to expect you to maybe go the same way, or they might expect you to go the other way. They're not going to expect you to go down the middle, because as a goalkeeper, if you stand still and it goes either side, you look pretty stupid. So the chances of a goalkeeper actually committing and standing still in the middle of the goal, it is pretty slim. But you've got to have real confidence and belief in yourself that the keeper's going to move, because otherwise you will end up looking very stupid. But mate, it's what you expect from him. He just does. I mean, Maresca described him after the game as not a normal player, and that's what he is, mate. He's not normal. You expect these. That's the sort of level you expect from players like him, and it doesn't surprise me at all that he just decides to do that last minute.
Facts, bro. You're speaking facts, man. But listen, let's move on. Let's move on to someone who has changed our life, people. You know what I mean? Me, Goonie, couple people last week, we jumped on the panel, big up Jabs as well, speaking about Enzo Maresca at length. And as you can see here, this was on the 3rd of June. Yeah, 3rd of June. Welcome to Chelsea, Enzo Maresca. And I'm sure if I scroll down here, I'm going to see a lot of abuse. There was a lot of people saying Clearlake don't know what they're doing, Couch. Why are they bringing a nobody? Why are they bringing a novice? He's a shit manager. They don't know what they're doing. And people have been cooking Clearlake. They've cooked so many things that they've done, and rightly so, because they made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. I've been critical of them, but I've bigged them up when they've done things that I like. Last season we were struggling so much from set pieces, right? They're bringing a set piece coach from Brentford. We're yet to concede a goal from a corner. Now I'm fucking saying that against Brentford, I bet we concede a goal, right? But that's just one thing that they did.
No
yeah. You know what I mean? They've brought in a manager that knows how to work with the players that they're buying. You know what I mean? If you're going to go buy a fucking Lamborghini Urus, you're not going to go buy some cheap petrol, bro. You're going to go get top notch. Yeah. Poch was cheap petrol with the team that we've got, because we've got a lot of technical players, and he is not that guy to be dealing with them. They sacked him, even though he managed to get top 6. They brought in Maresca. They said they wanted a manager that's able to bring down injuries, a manager that's got tactical nous, a manager that's got the mentality to manage a team like Chelsea. That's what they've been able to do. So like the title says, Couch, people have to start crediting Clearlake now, because all these things that they were doing in the background is coming to fruition. I'm not saying completely now turn and say, yeah, Clearlake for the win, because we need to start to see some trophies. But people were very quick to criticize them before. Now you've got to give them praise, bro, because things are coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you're saying there. We'll always have our nuances. You say things, I'm like, I don't know about that, Don. I don't know where you're going there. But more often than not, me and you can agree on things, because I remember in the summer we were talking about managers, and I was like, yo, this is the guy. It's Maresca. People were like, okay, maybe De Zerbi or Amarin, and I was locked on this guy because when I watched his matches back, and I watched, even just like his round table that he did where he's speaking through his tactics. This guy's about balance, and that's what I want to see in a manager. It's not just like one ideology, attack. I want to see what you can do on both ends of the pitch, because that's how you win games. So that was the first thing that attracted me to Maresca, how he spoke about the game, sees it as a chessboard, moving pieces around. All that stuff was what was really, really exciting for me to hear, and then I remember, like, the things under the Poch that I did not like, and for a number of reasons. Like, you can say I never wanted Poch, so I don't care what people say about him, really. But I can say this: I never wanted him, man. Like, it's just that simple, right? But what I can say is, when we were implementing these tactics and stuff like that, what he struggled to do is find the balance within the squad. For rightly or wrongly, whether it's because of injury or whether it's because he just does not have the tactical nous to figure it out, we did not have the balance, right? So when people now see Enzo playing the exact same role that he was playing under Poch, they're like, oh yeah, now it's working. Okay, yeah, because there's balance now. You're seeing people that are in behind where Enzo is, like Lavia, who Poch didn't have last season, and Caicedo in the midfield, absorbing, the spaces and occupying the spaces that were not being absorbed and occupied under Poch. So Yeah, I'm a firm believer that like this Maresca guy was the right assignment. I'm very happy that he's at the club. I think that he has a long future if he continues on this path of winning and like getting us to the promised land. I don't want to say much more than that. I think that he has it in his DNA to get us some trophies.
What's the promised land? What's the promised land?
Well, it starts with T, but and I'm not talking about titties. Where's my teeth now? I'm joking. Yeah, but
I just realized. Just reminded me. Hey, I wrote it down somewhere. People, I need to find that notebook. Yeah. How many points did this guy say he wants? Couch AJ, sorry, is it 12?
Yo, I didn't want to bring it up, but he said he wanted 10. I didn't want to bring it up.
We're one off. We're one off. We're one off.
Get it. Let's get it.
Get it.
You're shameless. You're shameless.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. I'm just saying it's one game at a time. I didn't want to get into this idea of like 6 games. Oh, this game. It's one game at a time for me. It's always been that way. So I'm looking at Brentford. I'm looking at Brentford now. That's all I care about. I don't care about if you catch 15 points between now and
you didn't care about Astana.
Kazakhstan, man. You know what I mean?
Man, it's cold out there, man. He better leave some man at home, man. I heard it's like minus 18 out there, man.
Yeah,
people don't want to play no football in them kind of conditions.
It's blitz out there, bruv, Jem. You know what I mean? And Jem, listen, we had a fucking cold season last season, yeah, where we were just shivering every time we're seeing lineups. We're shivering every time we're seeing a man trying to lock off games early by bringing on fucking Alfie Gilchrist, Jimmy Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? What have you thought about Maresca so far, bro? What's been the most impressive thing for you? Because you're someone, Jem, the time that I've known you, you're very, what's the word I'm looking for? You're very specific in what you want in a manager, right? And if that manager doesn't fit that criteria, you're very quick to turn on them. You know what I mean? And rightly so, because you're a Chelsea fan and you've grown up seeing Chelsea winning things, right? And all your criticism on Poch was warranted. I was someone that wanted Poch because of the young team that we had, but I wasn't overly convinced in terms of the tactics and the fact that it's pressure he's got to deal with. He's coming to Chelsea. We've seen this guy bottle so many things, right? But the main thing for me was I wanted him because I've seen him develop younger players, and he wasn't able to do that. What is it for you that's been the most impressive thing that Maresca's been able to do for you, bro?
Just before we go to Maresca, I think one of the killers for me with Poch was just that he never actually knew what his best team was. And I know injuries can be involved in that, but we didn't even know what we didn't know what lineup he was going to do from next week to another. And even though it still feels a little bit the same now, because obviously we're in European football and stuff, because he's doing like 10 changes. It's, the squad. Number one, look, we've got to look at the squads. The squad depth this year is a lot better than it was last year. Let's be serious. We had a very good summer. I still think we had a very good summer. The players that came in, you get the players in, and then from that, it's, can they adapt? How quickly can they adapt to this manager? And one of the key critics for me with managers when they come to a top club like ourselves, Chelsea, is being able not only to manage, because it's a very big squad and you need to make sure that you've got them all on side as you go through the season, but it's also about your problem solving and understanding in games and seeing when you need to change something. And a good example was just the Tottenham game, because the balance with Sean Cole was everywhere. Caicedo off the right. What did he do in the second half? He changed it. He didn't just leave it. What would have Poch done? He would have left it. Yeah, he'd have left it. He'd have left it, and it got to 60, 70 minutes. We might have, not been able to get back in the game. He'd have made an 80th-minute substitution, and then it would have just been too late, and would have lost the game. This guy is always thinking. He has ideas. His instruction is understood because the players are playing to the instruction, which I'd like, which means whatever they're doing in training, they're actually doing. Because sometimes, if you remember last season and the season before, we used to sit there going, what are they doing training? Like, what are they doing? We can't even build up play. We can't get from the back to the midfield, from the midfield to the forward line. We used to be like, we're shit, And now it just goes to show the differences of a manager that, listen, none of us really knew. I didn't really know much of, but what we did do, Don, and I got to give it to you because you do all your scout searchings and whatever, and I see it in the group. What we did do is we looked at the type of manager he is in terms of how he sets up and how proactive he is as well. Yeah. And there was a lot of good signs earlier on in the season, before we'd even started the season, of, yes, we've got this big squad, but, is he going to be good enough to utilize it? And we felt that we had the players to play to his system because of what we've seen under Leicester, which is another big key thing. But what's made it even better for him is not just the players, it's the quality levels of the players because they're quality, and secondly, because he's managed to make them work in the system. And this is why we're benefiting and we're being more consistent in our performances now, because we've got a manager that's able to get an instruction across, whether it's changing of 10 players or not. And they're all playing and understanding. And that's all I want from my manager, someone that can understand his group, and get the best out of them and problem solve when things aren't working.
Ideas.
Exactly,
Like
bro.
Tottenham.
Communicate the ideas. That's an important piece. Communication for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
It's
You touch upon a key point. You touch upon a
Certainly
key point
cool.
before I read Holdak's comment as well. You touch upon a key point, Jem, about being able to play the same way even with our second team. That's when you know you've got a good manager that's very clear in his communication. There's a lot of clarity on that side, AJ, because we speak about this with Klopp, bro. Every time it didn't matter who came in, Klopp's system, they were playing the same way. Same thing as Man City. Man City always had a B team. Their squad's gotten smaller and smaller, but they had that B team, and you're watching them, and it's the exact same thing, bro. That's when you know you've got a good manager, because everyone understands what needs to be done. So let me read this comment, AJ, before you come in, right? It says, big up Holdag. He describes Maresca as electric, adaptable, composed, a good man manager, good squad manager, tactical and quick to decide on changes. So far, he is fucking excellent. I think we need squad improvements. That's it. And big up ads as well. It says Poch made it seem illegal to have more than 3 attackers. Now we have a manager who pushes 7 guys into the final third. We're blessed, bro. And you make a good point, man, because I kept screaming, Poch is not brave enough for me, AJ. He is not brave enough. This guy is too scared, right? What's been most impressive for you with Maresca, man?
I mean, I think Jem said a lot of it. It's just him. To me, he's super tapped into what the team needs at the moment we need it. And I think that is just such a quality that you need as like a manager, especially a modern day manager where you have 5 substitutions. You can actually impact the game. Like in one go, you bring on 3 people, 2 people, and you can change the game, So I think him just being tapped in with the team and him, the players know exactly what they need to do, and I think that just brings about a confidence in the player, because it's, playing the game is about confidence, about knowing that when it's your turn on the ball or it's your turn to do something, knowing that you can execute it and knowing what you should be doing for it to be considered you did your job. So I think him just, I think the relationship he's created with the players and them understanding, the football, and then like Ad said, the way we attack, like, our attack has been like lackluster for maybe like the last 5 seasons, maybe since like that sorry season, that second half where we actually started looking good in the attack. Like we've been just mainly a defensive / control team, and then we'll win by a goal or so. You understand? Especially under Tuchel, we were just super functional.
Chelsea,
like
it was Chelsea, to be honest.
Yeah,
that was Chelsea, but we was scored still. We were still scored. That's the thing. We was. Yeah,
under
we
Jose,
scored.
you remember those Jose teams, man? You get up 1-0 and it's done.
Yeah,
bro. We used to
now us in the modern Chelsea. You understand modern Chelsea?
Yeah.
I think we attack with so many numbers, and I hear rival fans saying, watching the game, you see how many attackers we get forward, and it's hard for a defense to cover all of the players. You understand? So if we just execute in the final third, we'll score goals. You understand? And I really think, Maresca, I'm curious to see if he could improve the defense a little bit more, because I still think, that's our weakness. But that might be a personnel thing, because we might get a certain player in, and now our defense is, exactly where it needs to be. So, we'll see where it goes. But he's done it. He's overachieved.
He's also made decisions, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like he's also made decisions. Look at how he's dealt with Nkunku this season. None of us at the beginning of the season thought Nkunku would not be in his team, but he's still top goal scorer, and he's having some sort of involvement, but not in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. Like he's just doing things so well, even with players that you think would have started in this team for sure. But yeah, mad.
100, Charlie. And Charlie, before you come in, bro, I want to read a few stats here, people. So far, Chelsea have scored the most goals. We've scored 35 goals. We've accumulated the most XG, You know, that means we're creating some good chances right now. Most shots on target, 92. Most points away from home as well, 19 points, which is mad. Longest active winning streak as well, 4. You know what I mean, Charlie? So look at this, bro. This is mad. And when I did my welcome video for Maresca, I spoke about the fact that Leicester had the most goals scored last season, and they had the 3rd best defense. You know what I mean? Defensively, before last game, we actually had the 3rd best defense in the league. Yes, when you watch our games, you can see the weaknesses in there, but it's actually improved in comparison to last season, bro. But it can obviously get better. You know what I mean? What's been the most impressive thing for you of Maresca, man?
I think that there's a number of things what a couple of lads already touched on, but I think for me the biggest thing is the identity and the in-game management. Those are the 2 biggest things for me. Like example, Southampton away. You know, I think we just gone 2-1 up, but the first 15, 20 minutes, he weren't happy with the man-to-man press. He calls over Palmer, Madueke, and someone else. As the conversation, that doesn't happen again. That's then dealt with. You know, we've seen times last season under Poch. Remember the game at home against Wolves? Cunha was getting in behind Gusto every single time. Poch watched it happen and did nothing about it. You know, that's Maresca. It happens once. That's one too many times, and it's dealt with. And you know that for me is the biggest thing for me. The in-game management is massive, and I think the belief that he's instilled into the players as well. Because I think we can all admit when we're watching games last season, if we went 1 or 2 goals down, we knew we were finished. The game was done. There was almost no point watching the rest of it because you knew we weren't coming back into it. Now we go behind in a game, and I've got that belief and that confidence in the players and in the manager that either he's going to do something to switch things up or the players are going to respond. And that's what we're doing right now. So for me, it's in-game management. It's the belief that he's instilled. And it's the style of play as well, which is obviously playing a big part also. Like all things we didn't have last season, didn't really have belief last season, didn't have a style of play, didn't have an identity, and we had no in-game management. You add all them things in, you've got a proper structure, and you can actually see that the recruitment that we've done is actually pretty good. Yeah, when you sign as many players as we have, there's always going to be a few that don't work out. That's just football. They're not all going to work out. But you can now see that we've actually signed a core group of players who are going to have their best years at this football club. And you can now see, like, actually the criticism at the time, which I admit I was skeptical about the route we were going down with the recruitment. I wasn't really sure if the plan was going to work or the plan was matching up. But you're now getting to a point where you can see that, yeah, this is good. You know, this is good from us, and you can see that the plan actually might be working. Yes, it's only 15 good games, but you can see we're clearly on the right road, and you can see that we're going to have a squad that's going to be able to compete for the next 3, 4, 5 years. When you look at when we're competing with the likes of Liverpool and Man City, for example, Liverpool are going to have to majorly refresh that squad soon, as are Manchester City. Arsenal are going to have to refresh their squad pretty soon. United are probably 2 and a bit years behind us in whatever they're doing. So, like for me, we've done the bulk of our squad building now. We're just going to be making quality additions here and there and doing like 1 in, 1 out if we need to replace players. So, bro, I think we're in a really, really good position right now. And Maresca's done better than any of us, I think, would have expected. And he's just he's just good at what he does, basically, which we've not, unfortunately, which we haven't had with the previous 2 managers.
100%, bro. In-game management is so key, man. I remember last year I went to Man City away. If you remember, Poch
should have won that game.
We should have won that game. We were all over these, man, in the first half. We made ourselves at home. He goes negative so early. Again, speaking about this guy, he just wasn't brave. You know what I mean? What do you think, Charlie, we need to do then in January? What do you think we need to do in January to help Maresca, man? Because he knows what he's doing.
To be honest, like I've sort of in 2 minds about this. I feel like we really need a window where we don't do anything and we just focus on some outgoing. So you get Chilwell out, you get Chukwuemeka out, you maybe look to move on Cassidy. You know, you get rid of some players that need to be moved on. Look, we all know that a goalkeeper is not happening in January. As much as we want a new goalkeeper, it's not happening in January. I don't think a striker is going to happen in January either. I think the only thing that might happen in January is a centre-back. But again, for me, that's going to depend on if Disasi leaves the football club. So, which we don't know about yet. I think Anselmino, I'm pretty sure, is staying in Argentina with Boca Juniors until the summer. And then you look at, you know, could we do something with a Thomas Araujo? But again, Benfica aren't going to want to lose one of their starting centre-backs in January. So, for me, if we do anything, it will be a centre back, or if a ridiculous opportunity presents itself, then we might do something. But I know it's boring from a fan perspective. I just quite like us not to really do very much. And I think anyone that does come in will just be a summer target that's brought forward to January. Because I think generally January signings are, unless you're panicking down the bottom, January signings are generally summer targets that you kind of just bring forward a window. So, yeah, for me, bro, a centre back, I think, would be the position that if we do go for one, it will be that. But yeah, bro, I just like us not to do anything really. I think it's about time we just stopped bringing players in.
No. Listen, I don't know what we're gonna do in January. Me and Couch were having this conversation earlier, Couch. Yeah, Charlie, listen, you're spot on, man. Like I'm looking at centre backs. Yes, that's something that is quite recurring at the minute. Yes, Levi Cole was very good. It helps us attack better, but defensively, he's a little bit sus at times. You know what I mean? Fofana, injury record ain't great, Couch. We've got Disasi in reserve, who isn't good enough for Chelsea, should be moved on. You know, you've got Tosin, who for me is good enough to be a squad player, in all honesty. But Couch, I don't know if we're gonna bring in a centre back, bro. Because I was telling you earlier, like looking at our numbers there, we're gonna have to get rid to bring someone in. And in January, I don't know if we're gonna do that, bro. Who do you think is gonna get moved on, man? Because we spoke about Carney, spoke about a few others as well.
I think Disasi is the most likely to get moved on. He doesn't really have a position in the club right now. If you're talking about the two positions that he's in line for. But as you say, like with the injury record that we have at the club right now, I don't see a lot moving. I can only see like the players that are not playing at all being moved out. I can't see any players coming in at this point in time, unfortunately. It's because we just don't have, first of all, the squad space. Like if we did, like more guys would be in the squad. So number one, that's it. And number two, I don't think that, there isn't any dire need to bring anybody in. Like we're all talking like most of you guys on the panel right now don't think we're in the title race. I think we are. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, yeah, we should be, bring in whoever, man. We need to shore up this defense. We need to shore up whatever, right? But ultimately, it's going to come down to this. If we're not in a title race and the club is putting it out there that we're not, then why are we rushing to, buy in January? What's the point of that? It doesn't make any sense. If you don't think you're in a title race and you're second right now doing well, then we just sit in what we have and just move from there. If we get into the summer and we figure out that, we're a few points off the title, we're a few points, behind there, then we address it then. But January is not the time to do that.
Yeah,
and it's never really been, to be honest.
My thing is, right, like, what could we actually genuinely add in January that would significantly improve us and maybe take us over the line?
Bro, we're scoring goals.
But you know what I mean, bro? Like realistically, I don't think we would go and do that. Do you know what I mean, though? Like in terms of realistically, who could we really go and get that would be a Chelsea type signing under this recruitment model that is going to make a significant improvement to us in January? I don't see it.
This is the problem, AJ. This is what I'm saying. Like, you've got Anselmo Mino there. Like I've said, for me, he's highly rated by the club. He looks like a very good player. Looks like a midfielder playing from the back. He's very similar to Fofana with how he's aggressive. But I've said to these men as well, for me, he's quite rash at times. That's the only problem. I need to watch more of his games back from this year. I watched them mainly from last season. But from what I've seen so far, I do like him. Right. And like what Charlie's saying, I don't want to keep stockpiling. That's where I'm looking at it and thinking, bro, they're going to have to sell to bring someone in. Realistically, who do you think, what positions do you think are going to be sort of tweaked, man? I'm struggling.
Yeah, my thing is I can't tell you names of players, but nobody could say that there's not profiles of players that we still need in the squad. You understand? So if we do that in January, if we do that in the summer, it's still got to be done. But we need a right-sided center back because if we're not going to trust Disasi, if Disasi is not the guy, which clearly we're putting Body as shield there, who's a left-footed player, so clearly we're not really trusting him. So if we're not going to trust him, we need a right-sided center back to be a deputy to Fofana, who's also injury prone, and he's injured now. So that's something that we need. I don't know if that's going to get done in the winter or in the summer, but we need that. So I can't say that we shouldn't make any moves, because that's something that we need. Then I also think we need a target man type of striker, somebody, who's very good in the air. You understand?
Mhm.
Somebody who, can just offer us something different in the last 20 yards of the game. You understand? A plan B, a plan C, a plan E. Fucking with Maresca is like plan F. You understand? So it's like word. So I don't know if we're gonna do it in the winter or the summer, but I'm not gonna say that I don't want them to do anything, because we still need it. I know we might have been making a lot of transfers, a lot of business, but we do good business. You understand? So why not?
I think the outgoings, I think Carney will definitely go on loan, if anything. I don't think we're going to sell him. We'll probably loan him, if anything. Dewsbury Hall, I'm seeing a few links, but the sources aren't that solid.
He won't go in January.
He's not going to go. I don't see him going anywhere. And then
Not
Leslie,
even on loan? He might go on loan, though.
No, I don't think so. No,
I don't see them releasing both Carney and KDH, but it's going to be one of the two.
Cassidy will go. I think Cassidy will go as well.
Yeah, I think Cassidy will be gone. Yeah. Bring back Leslie because they're violating him at Southampton. Yeah, that's your guy, Couch, as well. Bring him back. He's actually away from Lavia.
He's not even making squads.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but to be honest with you, I don't even want him playing in that squad. That team is terrible. It's a tire fire. Like, I feel like he needs to come back just to save his career. Like, that team is horrible. You put him in that side, every time you see him play, he looks brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, he has nobody to play with there. So, without question, bring him back. Yeah. Bring him back.
No, 100, man. Yeah, Leslie, I think, listen, if you've got him there, you're not having to play Cassidy in a 6 with someone else. Like, Cassidy, he's worked there because it's Conference League, man. Like, if he's doing that in the Prem, I'm fucking scared, bro. You know what I mean? He's not a DM. You know what I'm saying? He's more of a box crasher. But yeah, just to finish off, people, listen, we've had a very, very good chat, man. 1 hour 15 minutes. It's flown by. Let's finish off with the super chats here as well. Okay. So
chat is moving mad right now. I'm not gonna lie, man.
There's a lot going on in there.
Oh my god, yeah, nah. You lot are crazy, man. It's fan love right now. You know what I'm saying, bro? But yeah, let me just quickly go through some of these super chats here. Right. So okay, big up AP. He says, I thought Lavia and Sancho was the best players in the pitch in the first half, and also most press resistant player in the league. Special player, man. Yeah, I thought Lavia was brilliant. For me, I said the same thing. I was saying with Charlie and Brendan. Big up Brendan, Black John Cena and that. I'll say next to those two. And yeah, man, I would say Lavia was fantastic in this game, the first half especially. The way he just drops his shoulder, bro. There was a time when he got the ball, played to him, and man just used like the back of his foot to just play it to Caicedo. And I'm like, how have you done that? And Charlie, see the away end where I was sitting? I was near the bottom. So I could actually see I could even hear them talking as well. It was mad. You know what I mean? But yeah, Lavia was very good. Sancho was good all game as well. Brian says, big up Don CFC in the chat. Keep bringing these W's. Big up, man. Big up. Let's see who else we've got here as well. We've got one more. Oh, no, I think that's it. That's it, people. That's it, man. But listen, we've still got 303 people in the house. Haven't even touched 200 likes, people. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, come on.
Yeah.
What?
Come on, people. Let's get the likes up.
We're being lazy. We're being lazy right now.
We're being lazy, man. This is free content. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing Liverpool right now. They're beating Girona. They're beating Girona 1-0. Yeah. That's a team that we're gonna fucking play in May. Hopefully, we're still up there. It's gonna be mad if we're still up there, and it's gonna be tight. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be interesting, man. But as always, Charlie, listen, love for coming on, my bro, man. Let them know where they can find you, my G.
No, pleasure as always, bro. Yeah, literally, guys can find me at Blueberry CFC personal channel. Less than 200 away now from 14k. So if you lot want to help me out, would appreciate it. And you can see me over on Chelsea Fan TV as well.
Big up, man. Big up. And AJ, as always, love my bro. Let them know,
sir.
Man.
Another episode. Catch me on TikTok, NYC Chelsea Blues. Follow me there.
Make sure people on Couch. Let them know, man.
Yo, pleasure to have me on here again, Don. Always love chopping it up with you guys. The chat, you guys are giving me jokes on there.
Crazy. It's keeping wild.
It's just wild right now, man. Big up the man them in the chat. It's Couch Critic. I just did the what is it? What game we played? The 3-point lane debacle. You know, defeat, win. You know, we did that on there. Just chop that up. But it's on YouTube, so holla. We'll do it again.
100, man. 100. And people, up the fucking Chels. You know what I'm saying? On to Kazakhstan and then we go again, man. Sunday under the lights, 7 p.m. I'll be at the bridge. You know what I'm saying?
That's a mental one, by the way. 7 p.m. on a Sunday. What's that madness about?
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there. But hopefully that's going to give us a little bit more time to rest, Charlie, man. You know what I mean? After the City derby, the Manchester derby even, and then we play our game, innit? But yeah, I'll be at the bridge for that one as well. Charlie, you going to the game, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be there, bro. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll see you on Sunday, my G. But listen, people, up the fucking Chels. We move. Love.